this consistency. I actually uploaded when I said I was going to upload. I am so proud of me. Last time you saw me, we had left off at episode 4. I've now finished doing my rewatch of episodes 5 to 8, and oh, they're just so good. Like, this show is just so good, isn't it? It's amazing. We're just going to get straight into it here. I'll put in some clips and stuff of my favourite moments, and I'll just give you my thoughts on each episode as we go along. And before we start, there will be spoilers, obviously. So episode 5 is called Catskills, and basically Girls5eva go to an Airbnb in the Catskills to do sort of like a writing retreat to try to come up with a hit song or write a song for themselves. There's 2 aspects of this episode that I really love. One is the Gloria Caroline storyline that goes throughout it, and the other one is the writing process sort of storyline that goes throughout it. So we'll talk about the Caroline and Gloria storyline first. A lovely little detail about this storyline is that Caroline, Gloria's ex-wife, is played by Janine Brito, who is Paula Pell's wife in real life. And I really like that because, I mean, if we're going for authentic lesbian representation, it does not get more authentic than like having a real life lesbian married couple. So I really, really love that. One of the things I really liked about this storyline was the song that Gloria sings, the little montage when her and Caroline are in the woods, because recently I watched Broadway's Masked Singer, which was absolutely unbelievable. I don't know if they're still on YouTube. If they are, I would highly recommend going to watch it. I know like some of the performances are on, I don't know if the whole program is, but that whole thing was like a fever dream, and it gave me very big Broadway Masked Singer vibes. I'll put a clip here of Caroline and Gloria's little moment, and then I'll put a clip of the Masked Singer immediately after it, and you'll see what I mean. I love that they included Space Boys basically just to show that Gloria was gay and has been gay the whole time, and the rest of the band were like basically oblivious.
I dropped super gay hits. I insisted that I wear a helmet during Space Boys.
You should have picked up on that.
Who the hell are you?
Daphne, John's best friend.
I also love Daphne, but we'll get to her in a second. I just love that they wrote a flashback song specifically about kissing boys so they could put it into the storyline for the character in the show who is a lesbian, so we really love that. The other thing that I loved about this episode, as I said before, was the songwriting aspect of it. Dawn has some really good one-liners. Dawn and Wiki have some really good one-liners in this episode. One of Dawn's best lines in this episode is the one about the Women's March, and also just because I know my friend Emma loves getting a shout out in basically anything that I do, this is her shout out because I think that this is also her favourite line. I'm not sure if it's her favourite line in like the whole of Girls5eva, but it's the one that she mentioned to me after she watched it for the first time.
I, for one, can't let a woman rot in the closet. I have been to every women's march that went by my apartment.
It's just such a clever line. I love it. It's so short and sweet, but it's just great. My favourite exchange though in this episode is the one where they're talking about the song Stronger Than the Best, and they start to discuss the rankings, and if you're stronger than the best, wouldn't that make you the best, with, you know, that sort of thing.
If you're stronger than the best, wouldn't that make you the best? So why are they still the best?
I think we just became stronger than the best during the song, so technically we are the best now. It's just not reflected in the rankings yet.
Why?
Because they come out on Mondays.
That line just gets me every time, because they come out on Mondays. Oh, I love this show so much. The last thing I love about this episode is the continuity from episode 1. So if you remember, if you've watched my last video, you'll know that one of my favourite scenes in this whole show is the confrontation between Wiki and Dawn in the first episode, where Dawn whispers the word Negronis because she doesn't know the history of the word. They followed up on this in this episode.
You're terrified of confrontation unless it's with me after Fallon. I'm the great exception. Hey, that took me 15 years and I was full of Negronis. It's fine, I looked it up. It's named after Count Camillo Negroni. Dawn.
I just love that continuity, and putting little things like that in. And there's also some great continuity later on, so we'll get to that. This then brings us on to episode 6 called Cease and Desist, and honestly, friends, this episode almost made me cease and desist from life, because this is the episode where Girls5eva get invited to perform at an early aughts themed Y2K throwback pride party. And this is the episode where we get Fledge Mulholland. So Fledge Mulholland is Dawn's alter ego. Her husband Scott said some things to her that like knocked her confidence a little bit. So Summer asks her to say a name and that'll be her alter ego. So she chooses Fledge Mulholland, which I think is great. I have put all of the parts of Fledge Mulholland together in a 1 minute long montage here. We're just gonna watch all of them because I can't choose my favourite. They're all brilliant.
Say a cool name. Don't think. Now. Fledge Mulholland. Fledge! I need you to look at Fledge.
Fledge is fearless. Her husband doesn't have a face, and she could give two F's. That everybody is judging her for her stupid name.
I like the name. I think it's great.
Today I'm Fledge Mulholland.
I also love this this music that plays in the background every time
We're doing the show.
she's Fledge.
'Cause I'm Fledge Mulholland.
I'll never be over it. I'll never be over it.
I do what I want. I don't stress. Worry isn't really my thing. Do you know what I mean, Brian?
I thought you'd sign the CD I brought, and I never told you my name.
Wonderful. Next. French pharmacy.
I just love her. I just love her so much.
Her name is Fledge Mulholland, and she got electrocuted in the crotch, so she sits in chairs like this.
That's just the highlight of that whole episode for me. That's just the Fledge Mulholland episode. There are a few other small highlights in this episode. One is Summer. I forgot to say, in the last episode, it was where she had to go and make salad and learn how to make salad. And in this episode, she kind of starts building on that and she wants to learn more stuff. So she listens to a whole load of audiobooks about queer culture and stuff. So throughout the whole episode, she's just dropping these facts about queer culture and being an ally and stuff. Which I really loved. I think it was a really, really nice touch. The other thing that I really loved in this episode, and on the theme from my last video, something else we need more of, is Wiki in the Maskical, the musical, which is a musical based on The Mask, but not only The Mask, as you will see. I would go and see this on Broadway. I absolutely would.
Was it Alrighty Then from Ace Ventura?
It was a pastiche of the Jim Carrey oeuvre.
Give Renee Scoresby the Emmy just for the delivery of that line alone, honestly. Then that brings us on to episode 7 called Airpig, which is where Girls5eva go to like a radio DJ convention to try to find an agent and try to like sell themselves to get some radio airplay. This is a really good episode overall, but there's not very many like one-liners that jumped out at me in this episode, kind of like episode 2, where I feel like these two episodes are like kind of bookended in the series. So like the pilot's really strong, episode 2 it's good, but there's not as many one-liners in it. Then the 4 episodes in the middle, episodes 3 to 6, are just unbelievably strong. Then episode 7 just came along with the same sort of vibe as episode 2 for me, where I really, really enjoyed it, but there wasn't like laugh out loud moments throughout it for me. I think it might be just because in episode 2 they were trying to establish some storylines. In episode 7 they were trying to wrap up some storylines before the finale in episode 8. I feel like it kind of goes like this, the quality of the season. I have to say though, I thought the reveal of what Kev has been up to this entire time was absolutely brilliant. If you gave me 1 million guesses as to what Kev was doing down in Florida, I never ever, and I don't think anyone would have guessed rehabilitating crabs in a crab sanctuary with custom made crab habitats with one themed like the Roaring Twenties. If you did guess that, then are you Tina Fey? Because I just don't know how you would. In the last video at the very end, I spoke about how the background music in some of the scenes reflects the main song from that episode. They did this again in episode 7 at a really cool time, and I really loved how they brought this in. So remember Dawn's Song of Fears, masterpiece, absolute bop. During episode 7, all of the members of Girls5eva get offered an individual offer from an agent called Nance Trace, and none of them decide to take it. Wiki's very tempted to take it, but none of them do. Then Wiki sees Dawn coming out of Nance's office and thinks she's taken her deal. So Wiki goes in and signs up for her deal. not knowing that Dawn hadn't done that, she had actually done something else. Then we get another confrontation scene between Wiki and Dawn just before Wiki leaves. So in this scene, obviously Dawn's upset, and the background music, if you listen,
Spend the money on your kids' college.
it's Dawn's Song of Fears, which says more about this scene than what Dawn's actually saying. So I just thought that was a really lovely touch, and I love the way that they use the music like that throughout the whole series. This brings us on to the finale called Separate Ways, but separate spelled with an 8 because, you know, we love some numbers here. In this episode, Wiki has left. She is a judge on American Warrior Singer. So the band auditions for someone new, but they can't find anyone, so they create a hologram version of Ashley, so we get more Ashley Park. Dawn comes out with an unbelievably relatable line in this episode about how many times she's listened to 4 Stars because same Dawn.
4 Stars isn't catching on because apparently I didn't bribe enough DJs. It only has 103 plays on Spotify, and that's all me.
That's me. I have listened to 4 Stars honestly probably 103 times in the last week or so. Probably 103 times in the first like 2 days after it came out. I'm not going to lie, I'm obsessed with that song. This episode also has this song, which when I listened to it for the first time, I thought was a genuine, serious song that Dawn was writing. Obviously, the way that they film it, it makes it feel like she's missing Wiki and wants her to come back into the band. And I should have known that it absolutely was not about that. Absolutely need a full version of Lego Man. So Peacock, if you're watching, thank you. Please, can I have a full version of Lego Man? The whole series then gets wrapped up so nicely with the band actually getting to perform at Jingle Ball. Not with any permission from anyone, but they still managed to do it. And I think it was a really nice way to do it, that they just kind of did it and had Little Stinker, or Stinker as he's now known, be like, no, let them have their moment. It was a lovely sort of like bookend to the series. But what I also loved about this performance was the little throwback dance moves to like earlier in the series. So during this scene, Dawn does a little hand movement, which is the same movement that she did during Dream Girlfriends in episode 2. And then Gloria also does the leg kick, which is meant to be, I think, the Excelsior, which she said that she didn't know if she could do in the pilot. I just love those little callbacks to earlier in the series, and I just love picking up on stuff like that. I also loved how the episode finished overall with the giant Ashley and Gloria making that comment about thinking that Ashley faked her death. If Girls5eva doesn't get renewed, which I hope it does, I feel like the finale wrapped everything up so nicely, and it stands alone very, very well as just a 1-season show. But I love that they dropped that little seed of Ashley may have faked her own death, because if it does get renewed for season 2, is that going to be a storyline where they kind of investigate that and then Ashley comes back into the band and we get more Ashley Park? Overall, I flippin' loved this show. I think it was unbelievably strong. I knew I would love it because Sarah was in it, but I didn't expect to love it so much. And like, I feel like if you had have taken the Sarah out of it, like my love for Sarah out of it, I still would have enjoyed it as much as I did. It's been getting such good reviews, such good feedback from critics and from the audience. I read an article the other day that was talking about like top contenders for the Emmys, and it actually included Renee Elise Goldsberry and Sarah as possible contenders. Personally, I think all 4 could be contenders because they all have standout moments throughout the whole series. As much as I would absolutely love for the show to get as many nominations at the Emmys as possible, the Emmy nomination I would really love this show to get would be for Best Original Music for the song 4 Stars, because I don't know what Sarah Bareilles put in that song when she wrote it, but I have had that song on repeat in a loop in my head, in my car, everywhere, constantly for 2 weeks now. It's a joke. Like, when I think I'm finally moving on from it, no, I just go straight back to it. If you've also watched Girls5eva and you want to scream about it to someone, feel free to come and scream at me. You can scream in the comments below. You can come and scream at me on Twitter. My handle is Let The Rain, spelled the same way as it is in my YouTube username. I know awards aren't the be all and end all, but I really do hope that during award season this show gets the recognition it deserves, because I really do think it is an unbelievable show. It's so clever, it's so witty, the music is unbelievable, and I just want it to get some awards. And that was my Google speaker letting me know my dinner's done. So I think we'll wrap it up here. Bye!